Hi everyone, welcome to my analysis compilation number 19, and we're going to start off with a clip that I think's quite an awkward one, but I think my viewer does a pretty good job, although there are a couple of things I would have done differently. My viewer's wishing to turn right, and as we can see there's a queue of cars in the road that my viewer wishes to take, but there are 2 lanes, and I think my viewer makes a good decision in this situation and uses the road space. Better that than being stranded in the middle of the junction they've just used. But now comes the next tricky part. My viewer wishes to proceed ahead, but the lane that they're now in is a right turning lane only. What would you do here? They could have just waited at this point, put a left signal on and asked to be let in, but I don't think that would have served any purpose. Holding back as they exited the first junction may very well have blocked that first junction. People may see this as pushing in, but I don't. My viewer was left with no choice. But here I do think they make a little mistake. I would have probably waited in this sort of area, put a left signal on, and then give myself a little bit of move room to try and fit in with the traffic on the left. But instead they go a little far forward. They also wait right alongside the black Golf. My viewer may have been looking for eye contact, but the driver of the black Golf doesn't oblige. And now all the traffic's flowing because my viewer hasn't been able to pick up any speed. And it's the difference in speed which makes any lane change difficult. I probably would have just waited before the line, but again my viewer makes a mistake and goes into the junction. I think if this had happened to me I would have abandoned and turned right and found another way to my destination, but instead my viewer's quite persistent on going straight on, and from here it's more than a little awkward. The driver of the blue car did well, as did the driver of the white Mercedes to the left. How do you think my viewer got on? In this clip, just like the first, my viewer doesn't give themselves quite enough acceleration room, but this unfortunately ends in a collision. And there's definitely fault from both sides. The vehicle in front tries to get into lane 3, but my viewer gets in a little too close. They haven't been able to move round to the left, and now the traffic's flowing from the junction on the left. The angle my viewer's positioned at makes it really awkward, I'm suspecting, to see in the left door mirror. But that's no excuse for not looking. And as you can see, 2 into 1 doesn't go. Thinking about this from the eyes of the driver of the red Fiat, they were quite impatient too. I wonder how the insurance company saw this. Probably 50-50 for me. Let me know what you think. It's quite difficult to see because of the darkness of the clip, but do you think my viewer could have done anything differently to avoid this? My viewer's vehicle rolled a number of times and ended up looking like this. And I bet most people couldn't even identify the car. It's actually a trusty old Ford Mondeo. Well, it was. Luckily, both the driver and the passenger escaped without any serious injuries. Let's have a little look to see exactly what happened. Even from here, you can start to see the vehicles that are parked up in the lay-by on the left-hand side, and this one's signalling left. All I would ever advise when you see vehicles parked in a lay-by is know whether you've got an escape route to lane 2 or not. And this is pretty important here because we know there's someone in this vehicle. But the left signal honestly gives us a false sense of security because it's suddenly swapped to the right and the car moves. And once your vehicle's skidding like this, you're not going to recover it. My advice to anyone would be to go and do a skid pan day because you do learn so much about car balance and car control in these situations. Here's another lay-by pull-out that causes a problem. Some nice footage from the VFO A119 version 3. Use the code Ashley and save yourself a further 5%. All the links are in the description. Luckily, no crash this time, but let's have a little look to see what made this happen. I often talk about asking yourself the question, have they seen me? And hopefully this clip will prove just how easily someone can be hidden. And there are a few factors that actually make this happen in this situation. First of all, the black BMW in the lay-by wishes to come out, and they're watching the blue Ford that they can see in their right door mirror. But the blue Ford's wishing to use the lay-by, so they're slowing down, and this encourages the BMW driver to go. But the driver of the white Nissan is following way too close to the Ford, and they can't see what's happening up ahead. And both the driver of the white Nissan and the black BMW move to the right at exactly the point when neither of them can see the other one. This could have been very different if someone had been careering round the corner from the opposite way. Speeds were also just about sensible enough so the driver of the white Nissan was able to abandon. The driver of the BMW also abandoned and made it a non-event. Well, sort of. In this clip, my viewer stops for someone doing the incorrect thing and then unfortunately gets crashed into by the vehicle behind. No analysis with this one, it's just a little bit unlucky.
WJ59XE.
How's your luck? An inattentive driver coming from the opposite direction and a tailgater behind in poor weather conditions. I wonder whether the driver of the blue car was found liable in any way. Interesting one this. Do you agree with me that my viewer was just a sitting duck? Where's the danger potentially coming from here? And how was my viewer's speed?
In hell.
The next time you're passing a parked vehicle, just remember this situation. And be always driving at a speed where you could stop if someone just ran out. Another mini roundabout crash in this clip. I'll let you watch it and then we'll go through it again.
Okay.
There's a bit to pick through with this one. There are factors in this collision that we've seen in the other clips, as well as some other points. The traffic queuing in front of my viewer does obscure the view a little, but there's an obvious opportunity for them to both see each other now. My viewer starts their emerge, but they can't clear because of the grey car. Rule 188 of the Highway Code says vehicles must go round the roundabout, not across it, unless your vehicle's too big, but this doesn't apply to my viewer's vehicle. And the fact that they do go across the roundabout has a massive part to play in this collision. So again, we're in this same situation where two road users can't see each other but they're still acting before they know it's definitely clear. If my viewer is doing things correctly, the Corsa from the other direction should be able to continue because the flow of traffic is blocked by this grey Kia. But that's a massive assumption if you think that. It's also a massive assumption from my viewer to think that the course is not going to continue. I do shake my head in disbelief sometimes when I go through and analyse these clips that people don't see the risk when it's glaringly obvious. Perhaps both these drivers thought that as soon as you get onto the roundabout, you've got priority. This has come up quite a bit in my comment section recently, and if you really do think that, time to hang your head in shame. Keep safe everyone, I'll see you soon.